Good morning, everyone. Whoa, that's loud. I'm going to take my mask off so that my voice projects a little better with the microphone and that we can hear each other, but I'm going to encourage everybody to be present and hear, but try to stay apart from each other so that we can all stay safe. So I am Jamie McElrath-Schwartz. I'm the Division Chief of Pediatric Critical Care Medicine and the Co-Director of the Blalock-Taussig-Thomas Pediatric and Congenital Heart Center. What an honor it is today to host the special event for pediatric critical care. Today, we will open 2 new dedicated pediatric critical care units, the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit and the Pediatric Cardiac Intensive Care Unit. Hopkins is an institution that is deep with history, and the foundation for this day goes back to the late 1970s, more than 40 years ago, when the PICU was originally opened. Mark Rogers, who was in my role at the time it opened and for many years following, is watching in the live stream today. And I want to say thank you, Dr. Rogers, for joining us. Hopkins Pediatric Critical Care has grown dramatically from that time. Our PICU is a family of 400 multidisciplinary staff that includes nurses, environmental service staff, respiratory therapists, social workers, nutritionists, customer service representatives, pharmacists, nurse practitioners, doctors, and trainees of every discipline. We deliver comprehensive pediatric critical care to patients with a wide range of diseases and requiring therapies that grow exponentially year by year. We have 24 faculty that includes national clinical leaders in neurocritical care, cardiac critical care, ECMO, ICU mobility, transport, resuscitation, quality safety, and education. I'm also proud to say we have physician scientists with over $4 million in external funding that work to move the science and the field of critical care forward. The history of congenital cardiac care at Hopkins goes back further, all the way to 75 years ago when Mr. Thomas, Drs. Blalock-Taussig and Harmel, the anesthesiologist, created the first aortopulmonary shunt for 2-year-old Aileen Saxon. Notably, Mr. Thomas and Dr. Blalock came to Hopkins from Vanderbilt in Nashville, just like our current surgeon and my fellow co-director of the new Blalock-Taussig-Thomas Heart Center, Dr. Brett Mettler. It's really funny how life comes full circle sometimes. Pediatric cardiac critical care also has strong roots at Hopkins. Dr. David Nichols, the current president of the American Board of Pediatrics, is a founding father of cardiac critical care and is an author of a definitive textbook in that field. Dr. Nichols is also joining us today from Raleigh. Creating a heart center, a new pediatric cardiac ICU, reimagining the PICU, this is cross-departmental and cross-hospital institutional-wide effort with support, funding, and enthusiasm from many places. There are a number of people who have championed this effort and our vision, and I want to say thank you to them. First, Dr. Redonda Miller, president of Johns Hopkins Hospital. She's here today and will speak to us. She's been an unwavering supporter of the Heart Center and for pediatric critical care medicine. Dr. Colleen Cook, department chair of anesthesiology and my boss, has removed many barriers for us, and she sends her regards, along with Dr. Bob Higgins, department chair of surgery, who has been a huge supporter of the Heart Center from the beginning. From the Children's Center today, we have the co-directors of the Children's Center, Dr. Maggie Moon and Dr. David Hackman. Donlizetsky, the director of nursing from the Children's Center. All of them will give us a few remarks today. And Mark Marcantano, the chief administrator for the Children's Center. While we're talking about the luminaries of the Children's Center, I have to mention that Dr. George Dover is watching us today on the live stream. I already referenced Dr. Brett Miller, our chief cardiac surgeon. I also want to introduce and thank Dr. Shelby Cuddy, the division chief of cardiology and the third co-director of the Heart Center. Finally, on behalf of the PICU and the PCICU, I want to give a huge thank you to Daniel McFarland and Stacy Mann, the administrators from the Heart Center and the Children's Center respectively, who led the planning, organization, facilities, and personally moved furniture as late as 9 o'clock last night so that we could be here today. We have a small gift for you guys. I want everybody to please give a little round of applause. They did a ton of work for us. I see you hiding back there. Thank you. The historical threads, let me get you, thanks. The historical threads of pediatric critical care medicine, pediatric cardiac surgery, and cardiac critical care will weave together today as we open the pediatric cardiac intensive care unit and rededicate the pediatric intensive care unit. History, or where you've been, is really vitally important. However, knowing where you are and who you are and where you're going is even more critical. This day builds on our long Hopkins history, but really it's actually about two groups of people. First, it's the team of people that work in the pediatric critical care. Our diverse, selfless, and dedicated healthcare team who make the PICU and the PCICU, a place of hope, healing, and comfort. The patients and families are really the actual important people who trust us with the care of their child, the person most dear to them in the world. We will now be 2 units, but we'll always share our mission of commitment to critically ill children and families. I'd like to introduce Dr. Radonna Miller, who's going to say a few words for us.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Is it afternoon yet? Morning still, I guess. Technically still morning. This is really a tremendous day for certainly the Pediatric Cardiac Intensive Care Unit, the PICU, the Blalock-Taussig-Thomas Heart Center. That's a bunch of words to get out. The Johns Hopkins Children's Center, and honestly, all of Hopkins medicine at large. It truly is a spectacular day. This dedication and rededication of 12 beds in the PCICU and of the remaining beds in our more traditional PICU marks another step in the expansion of our pediatric cardiology program and is part of our continued commitment to being leaders in the field of treating critically ill infants, children, teens, and young adults. Looking at this space today, I am reminded of, just probably 8 or 9 months ago, when we were paid a visit by a gentleman named Mr. Mike Edinburgh. I don't know if many of you remember meeting him. I'm sure some of you did. He walked through the doors of the Johns Hopkins Hospital for the first time nearly 3/4 of a century ago. And he was able to walk through our doors because of the pediatric heart program who saved his life. He wanted to come back and visit the Christ statue, to see the portrait of Vivian Thomas, and to really just reconnect with the time he spent here within our walls. Back in 1945, he had a serious heart condition, a deadly heart condition. But his parents, all the way in Waterloo, Iowa, heard about an innovative procedure here at the Johns Hopkins Children's Center, a shunt that could potentially save his life. So for his parents, it was a game changer. They had been told he would die by the age of 6. They packed up and they came to Baltimore. And to this day, we now recognize that Mr. Edinburgh was number 44 in a long line of patients who received the shunt, in a long line of patients who have been saved by the Johns Hopkins Children's Center. But stories like Mr. Edinburgh's are not just native to the heart program. They are honestly indicative of our entire pediatric program and a tribute to the care of all of the specialties and all of the survivors who have received care here in the PICU. As I say, it takes a village to make this happen. So of course, I want to just give a few shout outs to a couple of people, and I think, Jamie, you already said many of them, but if you will indulge me. Obviously, Drs. Jamie Shorts, Brett Metler, and Shelby Cuddy, who lead our heart center. To our nursing leadership, Donlizetsky, Lisa Fertino, and Colleen Gordon. You guys are tireless. Thank you. I would be remiss, our new Director of Intensive Care here in this Pediatric CICU, Dr. Darren Klugman, welcome. And then, of course, our Children's Center leadership, Drs. David Hackman, Dr. Maggie Moon, and Mark Marcantano. You guys are amazing. You guys, I hope you know personally, and I just have to pause here, because your esprit de corps, your teamwork, your sense of community for the entire organization was never more palpable during this recent COVID pandemic. You have always been people who take on new challenges, and you are always ones to step to the plate. But during the COVID pandemic, I saw you raise your hand, and the staff here volunteered to be redeployed, to be patient safety officers, to work in testing tents. And then you raised your hand again and agreed for us to put adult COVID patients here in the PICU and take care of them, leveraging your incredible expertise in critical care medicine. I have never been so proud of this team, and I will remain personally grateful to you for doing this during our time of stress. But honestly, this speaks to why you are great. This speaks to why these two units will continue to deliver the most exceptional care to all of our young patients. Our new PCICU will help us build on our historic leadership in pediatric cardiac care with dedicated beds and outstanding clinicians for the sickest patients with congenital and acquired heart disease. And our traditional PICU will continue to do what they do best, provide outstanding care for our youngest critically ill patients and their families, no matter their illness, no matter their condition. So I will just end. Jamie, I think you actually said it. Working side by side, you guys are truly two units with one mission. Congratulations on this moment.
Next, I'd like to have David Hackman come up and say a few words.
Thank you so much. And Dr. Miller, thank you for those amazing words. My name is David Hackman. I'm the Pediatric Surgeon-in-Chief and the Co-Director. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome everybody here today as we open a new chapter in clinical care at the Johns Hopkins Children's Center. But before we cut the ribbon on our new pediatric cardiac care unit, I want to spend a moment to acknowledge the incredible work that our nurses, physicians, and allied staff have been providing in the PICU, and which has given us the foundation in order to reach this day. And I speak now not just as a surgical leader, but as a fellow clinician. As you know, I've had the privilege to care for patients in the PICU alongside each of you. I'm always humbled to see the beehive of focused, organized, somewhat chaotic, but always professional activity that greets every patient who returns from the OR, every alpha trauma that comes up from the ER, every child in the throes of critical illness. I'm strengthened by the knowledge that the new unit will continue to provide its historically excellent care alongside the current unit and move forward with today's changes in a way that will be even better as we prepare for the years ahead. Which brings us to today's ribbon cutting. So today we are doing more than simply inaugurating a new patient ward. We are in fact opening up new possibilities, new avenues for outstanding cardiac care, and new ways to treat our most precious patients. It has been said that congenital heart surgery began at the Johns Hopkins Hospital through the work of the giants in the field after which our cardiac center is named. It can now be said that we stand ready to launch the next generation of congenital heart surgery right here at Hopkins by providing a superb venue for patient care, teaching, and research. But days like today don't just happen by accident. They happen because of the dreams, the vision, the creativity, and the hard work of our leaders of the Heart Center in Drs. Jamie Schwartz, Shelby Cuddy, and Brett Mettler. And so please join me in congratulating the team as we open a new chapter in our hospital's proud history of providing world-class congenital heart care, and as we soon cut the ribbon on the new pediatric cardiac ICU. Thanks so much, Jamie, for letting me speak today.
Next we have Dr. Maggie Moon, the Department Chair of Peds and Co-Director of the Children's Center.
Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, everybody. What an exciting day. This is just cool as could possibly be. So 35 years ago, Frank Oski, who was my friend and mentor, stood right here, somewhere in the buildings, here, with Mark Rogers, and they opened the first PICU at Johns Hopkins. Actually, the truth is, it wasn't really the first PICU here. It was a second PICU. The first PICU was a tiny 6-bed unit, not much bigger than a living room and a closet, with rudimentary equipment, but that's what we started with. Knowing Frank Oski and remembering the personality that was Dr. Rogers and still is Dr. Rogers watching us, I can hear you laughing at this, I can only imagine the battle of wills to get that new state-of-the-art unit funded and opened. I can hear it. I can hear it in the hallways. Whatever the effort, it was the beginning of a remarkable history that continues to influence the course of pediatric critical care around the world. The PICU in Johns Hopkins Children's Center is one of the oldest in the United States, and our PICU fellowship is one of the very first pediatric critical care fellowships established. The list of firsts goes on. Mark Rogers wrote the first textbook on pediatric critical care. David Nichols wrote the first textbook on pediatric cardiac critical care. In the 1980s, J. Alex Haller, working with Dr. Crowley at Shock Trauma, created the first pediatric helicopter transport and dedicated pediatric transport system in Maryland. Myron Yaster, who was junior faculty here with Mark Rogers, started the Society for Pediatric Anesthesia. And Hopkins hosted the very first World Congress of Pediatric Intensive Care. The first internet database, the Virtual PICU, was founded by Randall Wetzel, who is chief resident here in critical care and anesthesia. In the last decade, this list of firsts has gone on and on. The PICU has developed advanced programs in neurocritical care, in palliative care, in quality and safety, in large data science, and artificial intelligence. The program continues to create national and international leaders in every aspect of critical care. As we step forward into a new era of excellence in pediatric critical care with the opening of our pediatric cardiac ICU, I hope that this brief reflection on the history of the PICU will remind us of who we are and what this program has meant to the mission of care for critically ill children. Today, our PICU team members serve as educators, administrators, program builders, all with the primary focus of team-based, comprehensive critical care. Collaboration between the PICU and the Children's Center has never been stronger, and I am impressed every day with the work these people get done. It's personally very meaningful for me to stand here and participate in the opening and the dedication of this new PCICU and rededication of the PICU. Frank Oski was my friend and mentor when I was a medical student here, brought me into pediatrics. George Dover, who opened the PICU 12 years ago now, has always been a good friend and is my current sort of source of wisdom for all things hospital. I am thrilled to be able to celebrate this next step in excellence for our PICU. I want to extend thanks and admiration to the PICU as a remarkable team that continues to show tremendous flexibility and professionalism in reimagining and recreating their environment to support the best possible care for our patients. We have asked a lot of this team, and they continue to rise to the challenge. I'm excited for the future of these units. Separate and united at the same time, they will bring the care of our most complex patients to a whole new level of excellence. I am so proud to be part of this. Thank you.
All right. And then last, I'd like to welcome Donlizetsky to the podium to give us a few marks. Dawn is the Director of Nursing for the Children's Center. And I'm going to restart these wonderful slides.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sure. Don't want to pop a balloon.
It's gonna happen.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for allowing me to take an opportunity on behalf of nursing to come just kind of give my words. Today marks a monumental change for our pediatric intensive care nursing team. In April 2012, when we moved into the Charlotte R. Bloomberg building, the PICU and faculty and the staff wrote this book, this tribute book. It's Sacred Ground, a tribute. Expressing their fond memories of their sacred ground at the time with CMSC 7. And at that time, I do not think they ever thought they would see any change as big as moving into their new unit on Bloomberg 4, a 40-bed, all single-room, state-of-the-art PICU. And here we are, 8 years later, embracing a new beginning and creating a new face of Hopkins Pediatric Intensive Care by standing up 2 state-of-the-art intensive care units for our critically ill children. The cardiac intensive care nursing team has been working hard to develop their team, establishing high standards of care, and ensuring they are creating a healing environment for our cardiac patients during their most vulnerable time of hospitalization. It is exciting to have Colleen Gordon join us as our new cardiac intensive care nurse manager. With her leadership and her highly engaged nursing team, the cardiac intensive care unit will be nothing but top-notch. And right alongside the cardiac intensive care unit, will be our PICU nursing team, who will continue to be as strong as they ever have been, always committed to delivering the best quality and safest care to our critically ill children. They are committed to recreating their new brand, being the best PICU nursing team who deliver top-notch care to our complex, critically ill medical and surgical patients, our burn and trauma patients, and our critically ill neuro patients. These are very exciting times, yet one should not dismiss, along with the state of change, there comes a state of emotional and psychological reaction. And as excited as we are, it comes with a level of anxiety, letting go of what we know and embracing our new beginnings, our new brand of Johns Hopkins Children's Center Intensive Care Nursing. Over the last year of transition, it has taken the entire PICU nursing team to embrace this change and engage in developing what this new ICU complex will look like. I want to personally thank all of the PICU staff for their work and commitment in creating greatness. I would also like to send a special thank you to Lisa Fertino and Sherry Jones, our Assistant Directors of Nursing for Pediatrics, and Phil Constabile, our Assistant Nurse Manager for Pediatric Transport. They have embedded themselves on the 4th floor to lead our PICU nursing team through this transition. Their commitment is unsurmountable and most definitely should be recognized. They created the positive energy and creative change management to lead the nursing team along this journey. We have now reached our new beginning. Our new identity of 2 excellent intensive care nursing teams who are fully committed to giving the best care to our cardiac and intensive care patients. It is exciting times, a stamp of time in the history of Johns Hopkins Children's Center PICU nursing that we will never forget. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Don. So now we get to the fun part, the ribbon cutting. To dedicate these units, we will cut a large red ribbon with a huge bow, just like the one from 1985 when we opened in CMSC 7. We have asked the stars of the show to do the ribbon cutting for us, patients. So for the PICU, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to have everybody sort of step back, except the people holding the ribbon and Amaya's mom. There you go. So for the PICU, we are honored to welcome the mother of one of our current patients, Amaya. Amaya has been in the PICU since late summer and has had a really rough course. But we're so glad to say she's doing better. Her mom, Gidget, has been a key team member for her care, and she's representing her daughter today. The ribbon's going to be held by the leaders of the PICU team, Phil Constabile, who's representing nurse leadership, Amanda Levin, director of the medical critical care team, and Courtney Robertson, co-director of the neurotrauma critical care team. So we're going to have the PICU go first, then we're going to do the cardiac ICU. All right? Oh yeah, we need we did the ginormous. Ready? All right. Yeah. Gidget, we want to say thank you for this. You ready?
Thank you for selecting me.
All right, and you'll need to, I hope you took a video of that to show Amaya later. Good. All right, so now we're going to turn our attention to the unit on the left. For the pediatric cardiac intensive care unit, we have sweet baby Apollo and his parents. Yeah. Shayla and Matthew. Apollo has been in our cardiac intensive care unit since his birth 5 weeks ago and is waiting for his surgery. The ribbon will be held by the newly recruited leaders of the pediatric cardiac ICU who've both been introduced, but I want to thank again the Director of Cardiac Critical Care, Dr. Darren Klugman, and the Nurse Manager of Pediatric Cardiac Intensive Care, Colleen Rogers. So Matthew, when you're ready. Thank you all very much for celebrating this day with us.
Great job.